Russian state TV attacks rebel leader Prigozhin. Russian state television took a hard line at exiled mercenary leader Yevgeny Prigozhin, who was the leader of a military insurgency, and said it was continuing to actively investigate the incident. Prigozhin, founder of the Wagner mercenary group, took control of the southern Russian city of Rostov-on-Don on June 24, captured Russia's command center for the Ukrainian war, and sent a group of fighters to Moscow. Agreement. The Kremlin withdrew from the agreement. Since the Russian leader took power more than 2 years ago and forced the Kremlin to take drastic action, the deletion of the Russian leader poses the greatest threat to President Vladimir Putin. Limit the use of military and government powers. The face of betrayal is social solidarity. Prigozhin, as a deal to end the conflict, aims to destroy the Minister of Defense and the Chief of Staff. As he believes that their prosecution of the war is weak, Prigozhin plans to move to Belarus. In return, the charges against him should be dropped. But Prigozhin's St. Petersburg office and St. images claim to be private. The host of the show, Deputy Yevgeny Popov, called Prigozhin a traitor, and the video, shot by special guest Edward Petrov, exemplifies Prigozhin's past and present crimes regarding corruption in the army. This video shows Wagner's alleged property, the large numbers of boxes in his office, the money in his luxury residence, his helicopter, gun room, wig collection, full medical equipment, and a stockpile of a sledgehammer. Used to beat the rebels to death in videos posted online. Petrov said, "No one wants to close the case, the investigation is ongoing." Showed photos of Russian police officers entering Prigozhin's office. I think the image of Yevgeny Prigozhin as an actor was created by propaganda financed by Yevgeny Prigozhin, Petrov said, referring to media outlets. When they fail, they quickly close and run away. Prigozhin said he had 600 million rubles, $10 million worth of cash on his property. Prigozhin said that Wagner only had cash used to pay bills. Putin said that the state financed Wagner. The show showed several passports used by Prigozhin, each with a different name. It's not easy for a normal person to have more than one passport, said Petrov. Why does this man have such extraordinary powers as a big crime boss? We must determine who is on his side in the fight. We must punish and prosecute them. The man behind the Russian mercenary attack appears to have reappeared after the Kremlin attack, calling for public support that showed signs of sunset but did not disappear. After the recent separation sparked an unprecedented campaign for President Vladimir Putin, they quickly returned to the forefront of the war in Ukraine as their fates remained shrouded in mystery. But there are signs, both in the thoughts and in the videos of young Russians, that even Prigozhin is struggling to become a soldier and predicts that a struggle will come, but he has the support of the public. We need your support. On Monday, the pro-Russian workers posted a message from the director of the Telegram channel Wagner. The channel shared information about Prigozhin's past. One man among them, with a voice similar to Prigozhin, said in his signature style that, in the future, people will see, our future is at the forefront. I want you to understand that our march for justice is aimed at fighting the insurgents and supporting our society. Documents refer to Prigozhin's username in the opposition. I think we've accomplished a lot. We need your support more than ever today. Thank you, the system said without explanation. No details were disclosed about the whereabouts of Prigozhin and tens of thousands of workers. President Wagner has not appeared in public since the coup, giving a speech last week where he only provocatively claimed he had no intention of overthrowing Putin, but only because he wanted to prevent his rivals from getting on the Russian defense. A fierce battle that lasted several months. Rajan Menon, director of major project at Washington think tank Defense First, said on Monday the message was fully self-explanatory for Prigozhin with a bit of self-healing. Menon told NBC News, at the end of the day, he owes everything to the system. He is as much a product of the system as he is a critic of the system. So the attack on the offensive is that he will lose everything. They are after his assets. The question is what will happen to the Wagner Group. Exile from Belarus? I think he is now trying to release the narrative that will attack the government. The Kremlin, while denying Prigozhin himself, tried to show mercy to the Wagnerian warriors and promised to abide by the agreement that no one involved in the attack would be prosecuted. He will not be allowed to join the regular army. But in the 10 days of the crisis, it is unclear how many soldiers joined Prigozhin, who was in exile in Belarus, and how many will return to the Ukrainian front. Menon said that Wagner would not return to Ukraine in his old form. This is not what he did, and he was never in Prigozhin, he said. Since Prigozhin is not under direct command, some can leave by signing with the Ministry of Defense and others by doing everything, but Menon hopes the Kremlin wants Wagner's work to be a different country. The operation has been suspended for a month due to the temporary absence of PMC Wagner from Special Forces and his transfer to the Republic of Belarus, the Telegram Channel Party, affiliated with the Putin, Poles and mercenary group, said on Sunday. However, there are signs that modern Russians still support Wagner. A poll by the Feld survey station in Russia showed that before the coup, 55% of respondents approved of Prigozhin's actions during the war in Ukraine. Although the proportion of people who view him negatively has nearly tripled since he left, nearly a third still consider him positive. The survey agency said that men and participants aged 30 to 44 expressed mostly positive opinions about Prigozhin's activities, while among older people, negative comments were dubious. The survey revealed that about 70% of respondents did not change in the category of Putin's approval. A similar poll released Monday by independent Center Levada also showed no change in support for the Russian leader, but a negative stance pattern from Prigozhin, who was only one of 5 who responded to his protest, later supported him. However, Levada said that positive reviews of Wagnerian firefighters continued even after the attack. Opinion polls in Russia have become increasingly difficult due to severe crackdowns on freedom of expression since the war in Ukraine, leaving many people afraid to speak out or remain anonymous. As Wagner and Prigozhin left the southern city of Rostov-on-Don, which they had captured in the first days of the uprising, support for Wagner and Prigozhin appeared amid cheers and waves of citizens. More than a week later, this seems to persist. The video, shared on social media and verified by NBC News, shows young people waving Wagnerian flags at the graduation ceremony in Moscow's Gorky Park on Saturday. During the Prigozhin revolt, balls were suspended in many parts of Russia, including Moscow, due to public safety concerns. President Wagner's so-called new news came the day his worst enemy, Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu, made his first public statement about the attack. Shoigu commended his soldiers for faithfulness to their word and military service during the attack, which he described as an attempt to avoid trouble in Russia. He said what the Kremlin calls special military operations of the war in Ukraine were unaffected by the protests. Although the location of Shoigu appears to be safe, the whereabouts of the Russian military leader remains unclear. General Sergei Surovkin has not been around since the Prigozhin rebellion, and there is much speculation about his fate. Despite the uncertainty, Russian leaders are trying to unite the people.